shimmies and it shakes to get the dirt off the potatoes. There we are. I think the first potato wasn't deep enough.
How you doing, gardeners? Ed Snyder with Fresh Baked Acres. Got an interesting video for you today. It's something that we've been building up on since last year, and it all began with me digging potatoes, 100-degree heat and all that kind of stuff, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's miserable out here, this is terrible. And on top of it, we're selling out of all of our potatoes. So number one, I'm not growing enough potatoes, not getting enough sold, not getting enough dug. And every Saturday I go to Lenexa. Delia does a bread basket farmers market there in Topeka. Anyway, bottom line is that we're both sold out by 9:30, 10 o'clock. People love potatoes. So I can't dig any more potatoes on my own. I'm just getting too old to keep digging that. But however, out here is the MechMaxx. This is a potato digger that watching a guy on YouTube and how those guys were doing their stuff. I'm not saying that this is their brand, but the MechMaxx Potato Harvester weighs 322 pounds, model PH19, category 1, and it's fully adjustable. Today we got it out, we got it going, and I'm really pretty happy with that. It did very well. It did very, very well. It just took a little bit of a little bit of getting everything kind of done, but I think everybody's ready. So now I can unhook this and go back and plant beans or whatever I want to do, and then hook back right up to it and take off. It did take my little PTO had to be adjusted. There's no denying that. That had to be adjusted by cutting it down. Other than that, but it trails very nice. That's what this does. It trails very, very nice, and by having these tires here. And of course, once you have it in the ground, that helps it too. But no, this is this saved a lot of work. Now you got to go back and you have to pick the potatoes up. No getting around that, but picking the potatoes up wasn't the work. Digging the potatoes was the work. Then on top of it, I'll say that after we got the potatoes dug, I think it's going to pay for me to make a second trip through, and because there'll be a few potatoes that are still hidden in the dirt right now and stuff. So we'll run it back through the potatoes one more time, verify all the potatoes are picked up and stuff like that. But I'm not unhappy with it. 2 rows, ended up with 3 boxes of potatoes. Seems to be the going rate for where we're at as far as our yield's concerned. And now Delia and myself on Saturdays will not run out of potatoes until we run out of potatoes. That's the thing. And it'll gauge us on where we're at. How many more do we need to plant, right? That's just, can we plant more? Have we hit our maximum? Have we done it? So we don't know. But it was fun just picking up potatoes and a lot less work in the way. And this smooths out the ground so nice compared to me digging potatoes. Everything is so rough, and from digging potholes is what you're doing with potato fork. You're digging potholes out there. Well, this here just shakes it out real nice and all that, according to the video. I'm not paid by this company. I'm not sponsored by MechMaxx, but I am a happy consumer of theirs right now. We'll see in time how it goes, but everything came out of the box. We hooked it right up, did a little adjusting, and nope, it's ready to get it. We did it.
All right, it shimmies and it shakes to get the dirt off the potatoes. The first potato wasn't deep enough, the first plant. But there they are, popping out of the ground. Much easier than digging them up yourself. Much quicker. Good. Hold on. Okay. So what we're going to do is now go to the rows that we picked the other day, that they dug up the other day, and dig out again in case there's a few that got buried under the loose soil when it was throwing them back in the ground. And then we'll come back and we'll pick all these up. Look at all those potatoes. Look at all those potatoes. Like I said, maybe the first plant may have gotten chopped. I don't know yet, but we'll see. And I got to do the same thing. I got to move the water line. The line is heavy because we were watering this morning. Okay, I think hopefully that's far enough. Let's see if we find any missing potatoes. There's a couple more. That one potato is getting beat up in there because it just keeps bouncing around in there. Sweet potato. Okay, I got picked out. There's another one in there. That one poor potato got wedged in there. We got 3 rows to recheck, but 2, 3, 4, at least 5 potatoes extra that were, oh, there's another one, 6, 7, 8, a little one there. It's about 10 potatoes that it's pulled up after it got reburied with the dirt. All right, let's see what this one has. There's row number 2. there's still a few, like maybe 4 or 5. There was more in the other one. But I think one of these we already had done once before. It may have been this one. Or I can be totally wrong. Get beat up in there because it's no plastic cushion. They're bouncing around like when they get cold the first time. Poor potatoes. I think these are going to be our potatoes. Yep, when they have no plants to cushion them while they're bouncing around, they get all the skins ripped off.
You know, that isn't too bad for our machine there. I'm gonna go ahead and Delia's working on that end, and I'll work off of this end, and yeah, this is nice. And then I'll turn right around and run the machine back over it again. We'll find out if I got enough. Glad to find that. Let me throw this. We use these at different spots. Some old diggers, they pull them up. All right, the first one I may not, Delia says I may not got far enough underneath of it. We'll find out. And yeah, you do want to go in here. Yeah, it's not too bad. You do want to go ahead in here and after you get done feeling around, and then we toss these off to the side, and the tractor will just run over it. But I'm real happy with the digger. I mean, this is a lot faster than me hand digging. And then, like I said, after you kind of pull it up, take your hand and feel around here in the dirt a little bit. There's another one, like, because there's gonna be some that pop off. Yeah. Me and Brett the other day just kind of hand dug through these Yukons, and wanted to see how we're doing here. And they are big enough, and people do like the Yukon Gold, so we did this to help, you know, to give people what they want. There's another potato underneath the dirt. Like Delia was saying, the downside is the first time around you got plants that are pushing the potatoes through, but the second time around you don't have that, so the potatoes kind of get beat up a little bit. I agree. There's a bunch of nice Yukons here. Just a nice efficiency of, like I was telling Haley with the farmer's market. By adding the Lenexa farmer's market, has opened up another path of income, of gross revenue to come in. And it's because of that that helps Delia and I not just grow our business, but we're not young anymore. But not just grow the business, but help us actually get a piece of machinery that's going to save Delia and I our 62, 63-year-old backs. For no more than, I don't know, I'll just say, roughly speaking, probably I saw Delia on the worst case scenario came up with a dozen potatoes, and I know for a fact, and on our redig, on the redig, they came up with another dozen. Whoop, there's a snake. There's a snake in the dirt. But there's another dozen potatoes that we found once we were done. That's the seed potato. Get on here. And once we got, yeah, look at that. If that's all if that's all we're finding, which I'm happy to redig them and get them, we're going to dig them again here. But if that's all we're finding, I know for a fact that Delia and I lost a dozen last year due to hand digging. I wouldn't go back and redig my potatoes again a second time. Not as much hard work as we had to do. And now we're actually able to harvest them. I mean, these are some, you know, you don't want to rub these too much. You see how easy it skins? You just really want to pick them up as gently as you can. I'm honestly surprised going through the machine. Remember, this is a new potato. I'm really surprised that they're not being marred up. And I really kind of expected the machine to be hurting the potatoes, but they're not. They're not, as long as the dirt's hitting them. And like I said, we just toss these aside. And I gotta plant some green beans. And the nice thing about this is now I can actually come into this zone and plant green beans right behind this. Isn't that something? Well, here's some good ones here. There's a lot of potatoes right here. Yukon Gold. Couldn't be better named.
So there's a lot of potatoes. Look at the size of these monster potatoes. Monster potatoes. You know, and like he was saying, the machine does a good job in not damaging them. Their skins are so sensitive right now, but I think the big thing is that it's when it's in the machine and rolling around, the plants are in there also, and that kind of cushions them. When we did the cleanup in the other rows, the few potatoes that were in there had nothing to push them out. There was no plants to push them out, and so they kept rolling around inside that rack that bounces them around, and so they pretty much lost all their skins. So they will probably be ours to eat. But look, That's what I always call the new potato. Some of these, look at these massive potatoes. I mean, the skins are still very tender, but they're huge. And once we're done picking here, he's going to go through it again to see if there's anything that we missed. These are a little harder to spot in the dirt than the red ones. The red ones you can see that there's one still there.
This is a lot of potatoes for us, ain't it, Delia? I mean,
Yeah.
look at how many.
Did we get more of these than the red ones?
Yes, I think also you increase the plant population here, which, you know.
This is the last row where I said they're all going to fit.
Well,
in this
the
row.
last rows, yeah, but you did. You just went, says, oh, they're all going to go. And guess what? We're getting twice as many potatoes. We're getting, or 1.5 more. Anyway, yeah. No, this is, I think these potatoes are actually easier to see in the ground than the reds.
Really? I said the opposite.
You said the opposite?
I said the opposite.
Well, I haven't found any that were hiding. We're going to find out when I go down the road. You'll see if they all pop up down the other end.
And it's also easier not to see the look. There is a lot of skin damage in that one.
Yeah.
But you can't really see it because it's yellow on yellow. The other one's red on white.
Red on white.
So it's easy to spot.
There's one. Well, we're going to find out how much we do. Look at all them taters. That it? Let's give it a shot.
So we're going to do the cleanup on this row, and he's just going to come over and scoop underneath again and see if anyone were buried under the soil that we didn't see the first time around. And hopefully the digger will bring them up. He was saying how he thought these were easier to spot in the soil, where I was mentioned before that I thought the red ones were easier to spot in the soil. So to each its own. Let's see if we find any more potatoes. There we go. Right here. I can't even pull it out. Alright, let's see if anything else pops up. Yeah, I see one of a couple in the basket. Nothing major. in between the top and the bottom. Interesting. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get that one out. Well, that one got a little mangled. And this one will probably get a little mangled too. Oh well, guess that's our potato. Let's see what's in it. Oh, son of a gun. Oh, I hate those prickly plants. Alright, let me go get the last basket and pick up all the extras. And there it goes.
There's the harvest of one row of Yukon Golds. You know, it's what it is. That's, you know, we've done as good as we can do. The potatoes are doing nothing more than getting bigger. And, but we said we'll do one potato or one row a week. And by right, Delia, shoot, you could take, you know, one whole tub of yellows and one tub of reds normally. And, or would you want more than that in the future?
We'll see on Saturday.
We'll find out how well we do. We will not shorten. We are going to come home with potatoes. And if we don't, I'm going to go get to expand the operation. Anyway, folks, I hope you like this. You know, it's exciting for Delia and I. The tractor, it's oversized. You don't need that big of a tractor for it, but it's the tractor we own. But I loved it. It saved me a lot of work, a lot of back breaking. The only thing we got to do is just get these potatoes in there and let them get cooled down. We'll put them in the storage area. So thanks for watching, folks. Hit that like button and subscribe. Come grow with us.